All right. Hope everybody's doing well. Recap the win over Campbell. I thought our guys did what we wanted them to do, played the way that we should have played. Loved how they responded. Guys had fun playing football. Got to play a lot of guys, and we came out of the game healthy. So offensively, no turnovers with our starters. Scored 100% of the time in the red zone. We had 5 red zone touchdowns, scored a touchdown on our first 8 drives. We were explosive in the run game and the pass game. Played very well up front. CJ was super accurate, had really good protection. Receivers did a nice job executing routes. And we spread the ball around. The running backs, tight ends, wideouts all played well with and without the ball. And some really good down-the-field blocking by our receivers. It was great to see, just so many explosive plays with different guys, and seeing Cody Hardy have an explosive play. You love rewarding big guys that do what they do in the trenches so much. Hollywood and Duke both played well. Negatives, our backups when they came in turned the football over. Obviously a play will learn from, but it was good to get those guys those reps. On defense, tackled much better, stopped the run, less than 2 yards a carry. Only 2 missed tackles the entire game, and a lot of guys played. I was proud of the guys, that played in different spots too. You saw Assad Brown playing strong safety, Javon Bailey playing at nickel, Caden Fordham was playing at the Mike, Kenny Soares at the will. So, guys were playing that have played for us, but playing in different positions and executed well. Did a nice job throughout the game with corrections. They were doing a lot of stuff with 2 quarterbacks in the game, so there was a lot more going on there on the sideline than people probably know. But we had 2 fourth-down stops, forced a turnover. Guys did a good job, Big negative, there was a penalty with our starters. 2nd and 26, we had him behind the chains, and Ronnie throws a guy when he's out of bounds and let him off the hook. And, a lot of our mistakes right now are young players. That's part of playing young guys, and it showed up big time on special teams. A true freshman muffed a punt, fumbled another punt that he recovered, Teddy. And obviously Terrell came in and did a great job as our punt returner, so that was a positive. Penalty on Licorian, true freshman, on a touchdown punt return. So, our young guys got to quit playing like they're young and play more mature when they're in the game and take coaching. And, it's like I told them in the meeting room, you came here to play, you're getting the opportunity to play. You need to play like an older player from a maturity standpoint, and that goes down to how they practice. And the older players staying on those guys as well. Caden Fordham had Caden Nooncaster had another great game punting the football. We didn't punt much in the game, but it had a 40-yard net with no returns. And so we've improved in some areas, and obviously offensively and defensively. I thought our fans were awesome, coming out. And the ones that stayed the whole game, like I said after, it's just awesome to have guys do that. And the upper deck, it's just amazing. You're in the sun the whole game, and you're there cheering the guys on. It means a lot. And you don't get to see us for a while. We're gone for a month, and so at Notre Dame this week, and then a bye, and then at Pitt. And so, we'll miss being in Carter Finley here for a little bit. And now on to Notre Dame, a great opponent, very physical football team, big offense and defensive lines. Tight ends are, 6'6". The 2 running backs, super impressive on film, and what you'd expect when you play them. Both run hard, different running styles, but hard to tackle, elusive. Receivers are playing well, number 6 and number 0. And we played against Fields, when he was at UVA. He was a really good player then. Tight end, like I mentioned earlier, is a big, tall kid. He's their 4th leading receiver. Their tailback Love's our 3rd leading receiver. And, there's matchup issues when you're covering 0 as big as he is. Defensively, they play really hard. They're physical. Their front linebackers and safeties are good tacklers. They play square. They use their hands. They do a good job mixing up coverages, zone and man, line stunts and pressures, and they've improved as the year's gone on, which happens, when you have a new defensive coordinator. And I know Chris well, he's a good friend, and he's a really good football coach. But when you take over a system, it takes a while for the guys to adapt and adjust, and they've gotten better and better the last two games. Arkansas and Boise held them both to less than 10 points. So, special teams, it's probably one of the better special teams groups in the country. They'll take risks. They're going to run a fake, or field goal fakes, punt fakes. So you have to be really sound with how you prepare against those units, aggressive with their blocks. So our protection and our punt units, our protection and our field goal units has got to be dialed in, and excited for the challenge. I love playing against physical, aggressive teams like this, and a great place to play with the tradition and history of South Bend and playing at Notre Dame. It's been a while since we played them, so excited to have that opportunity, and our guys are excited. And so, questions?
Corey, you want to start us off?
Dave, obviously, you knew that Hollywood Smothers had the capability to be the type of back to be good in the season, but to this point, he's averaging over 135 yards per game between rushing and receiving. Has he surprised even you a little bit in terms of his production and what he's been able to do on the field?
No, not at all. I knew last year as the season wore on how explosive he was, and that if he would have the offseason that we needed him to have where he could sustain his health, that he would be what he is, what you're watching. And it's more than just him as a player, It's how he is on the sideline. It's how he's cheering on his teammates. He is a very, very integral part of the success of our team when he's in the game and when he's not in the game. And I'm really proud of him, and I love his desire. I love his heart, how tough he is. And this game's got some good backs in it, man. I'm going to tell you, you take Hollywood, and he's as good as there is, and their two backs are really good. There's going to be some physical football in this game, and some backs that like being physical too. And if you watch our game Saturday, Hollywood, his protection is outstanding, and he's standing in there taking on linebackers. And so it's how he's playing without the ball too, which I love. And you see the same thing with Justin Jolie right now, how he's playing. Really, the one touchdown catch that Hollywood had down the sideline, Jolie's running a wheel route, sees him get the ball, turns it up, blocks, and takes his guy out of bounds so that Hollywood can score. That unselfish play is just it's really awesome to watch.
Jaden?
You mentioned Chris Ash and just your friendship. Have you all talked at all leading up to this game at all, or during this season?
Well, we're not going to talk this week, no. But, yeah, we talked during the season and off-season. And Chris and I went to college together, played football together, coached together at Drake and at Wisconsin. He's a great guy. He's a really good football coach. And so, yeah, it's exciting, to play against anybody that you respect. And I have the utmost respect for Chris and him as a person and a coach.
James?
Dave, you were able to get Josiah Baker a lot of snaps this past week against Campbell. Just evaluate his play and maybe if he earned a bigger role moving forward.
Yeah, no, we've first of all impressed with how he played in the game. I think he's got a ton of upside for us, and he is our backup nose guard now. And so his role, it just depends on, the game we're in and rotating him and Cleve to keep Cleve healthy and rested, and making sure that those two guys can be fresh in the game. If we're in a game where we're playing a lot more of our third down packages because they're a spread team, then the nose guard sometimes will get lesser reps. But, if we're going to play 50 snaps with the nose guard in the game, then, you're going to see him in there, 10 to 15 to 20 snaps. And so that Brandon can play 30 to 35, and that way you have a fresh big guy in the game. And But he's just gotten better and better as the year's gone on, and he's worked really hard, changed his body in a good way. He's excited about playing this week, I can tell you that.
Noah,
You mentioned your relationship with Chris Ash. Do you have any moments or memories from those early coaching days together?
None that I'm going to share with you, Noah. I'm just kidding. No. Yeah, we've had a lot of good times together, man, as coaches. You know, back to when we were GAs, I mean, Charlie Partridge and myself and Chris and Brendan Daly, who's the linebacker coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, we were all working together at Drake, you know, and taking care of the locker room. We remodeled the locker room, you know. We used to go out and mow the grass and paint the fields, and, you know, it was a one-stop shop. You had to drive the bus, you had to cut up the film, you had to coach your guys, you had to recruit an area, you did everything, you know. And so we learned from the bottom up how it is to coach football together. We used to go on road trips and study football at other places, and you know, our spring break, we'd drive to Oklahoma and see Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, and we'd drive down to Dallas and see TCU or, you know, somebody else, and have a good time. You know, we were in our 20s, and so, and then we were at Wisconsin together, different, you know, now we're married with kids and trying to make a name for ourselves in the profession. And, you know, I thought had one of the better defenses that I've been around. You know, that year we went to the Rose Bowl with J.J. Watt. Chris was our secondary coach, and we didn't have one team rush for 100 yards in 12 games on us. And to do something like that, you know, it's got to be really coordinated. And him and Charlie Partridge and myself were on that staff together. Not that we deserve the credit. We had J.J. Watt wrecking shop up front, you know, but he was always just so dialed in, Chris was. You know, you'd go in and present all the formations and all the things they could do and the route concepts and the splits and the tendencies and the protections, and it was a great right hand to have, you know, because we'd sit in there and argue about things too and come out with the best solution. So, you know, came up in the business with Chris and Charlie, and two guys that I have really, really fond friendships with, but the utmost respect for as football coaches.
And then just to follow up, obviously you guys just have been different than the days of Content Drake, but what's it like to kind of meet again going into this weekend game? Yeah,
it's been a while since we coached against each other, and I'm trying to remember when it was. Not sure if we have. Well, yeah, we have. When I was at Northern Illinois, he was the D coordinator. He replaced me when I left, when we played Wisconsin, and didn't go well. Russell Wilson was actually the quarterback for Wisconsin that year. That was the year they won the Rose Bowl. And Chris was the defensive coordinator. We played him in Soldier Field. But that's the last time I've coached against him. So that was 15, 16 years ago. Been a while.
JC,
A different walk down memory lane. I always felt that the Arkansas game, when you coached against them in the bowl game with either Jones and McFadden, might have been the standard of a 1-2 running back punch. What have you kind of learned over the years to take away the effectiveness of great backs like you'll face this week?
Well, and not that I want to injure anybody, but, you know, we tackled Doeren McFadden back before the horse collar tackle was illegal on the first or second play of the game, and he twisted his ankle and was out for the rest of the day. And so that helped us win that game for sure, that we didn't have to play against him because he was crazy good. But it comes down to tackling, man. I mean, I just was with DJ upstairs. We were watching all the explosive runs and how many missed tackles there are. And these backs are really good, as is our back, at making people miss and running through contact. You aren't going to just go in there and shoulder somebody and they're going down. You're going to have to wrap them and get them on the ground and swarm tackle them. And so it's a fundamental game, you know. That's what football is, you know. It's a test of will and skill, and two guys imposing their will on each other and getting off of blocks, being sound with your edges. They do a great job of cracking safeties and making corners fit in the box and tackle as well. And so, everybody's involved in this to stop the run. It's going to take all of our guys, and we got to do a great job. Like when we played Wake Forest this year, we did a great job of hemming that kid up. That guy's a great back too, and we were able to stop him. And then we've been in other games where we didn't do it, didn't get it done, didn't tackle well, didn't set edges well. And so the best version of us has to show up on defense and offense to control the line of scrimmage more than they do, and to make the tackles when you're there to make them. You've got to get guys on the ground.
Murph,
Yeah, thanks, Tim. You guys haven't been up to Notre Dame since 17, so maybe outside of the transfer here or there, you guys haven't experienced up there. I know you play in a lot of great environments, but is there anything different, special about playing a game up there? And obviously some teams in your league are playing them every year, like Clemson. Would you like to get into a situation where you're playing Notre Dame more often?
If they were in our league, I would. I mean, they're not in our league. And so to me, that doesn't make sense. But like I said, I'm all in favor of playing more league games. I think that'd be great to play as many league games as we can. But it's great to get to play them every now and then. And it's a special place to play, there's no doubt. The history and tradition of college football itself, So it'll be a great experience for our guys as far as anything unique. I mean, it's just a crowd noise thing, So when you have over 70,000, I think it's 77,000 for them plus, crowd noise comes down to how you play. And you got to do a great job offensively of staying on the field and, winning your third down opportunities and not letting their fan base, be the 12th man. And that's hard to do. You have to really play well to make the noise not a factor in a game like this. So it's our first road game with noise this year, so, that's what makes it different probably more than anything.
Noah,
Yeah, Steve is fourth in the country in passing yards for the first 6 games. How would you just evaluate what you've seen from him after the year?
Well, when you have a quarterback playing like ours, you got a chance to win every game. And he's playing at a high level. And if you ask him, he's got a lot of improvement he can still make. I mean, he's really hard. He's very competitive on himself. And he wants to play as well as he humanly can to help his team win. He's always trying to get better, trying to find an edge. So, and the guys around him are playing well for him. And that's the other thing, I mean, there was a lot of – he completed over 80% of his balls, but there was a lot of guys making good catches too. They weren't all thrown right in their face. Those guys having to catch some balls behind them or adjust their body. And so I was proud of the way we caught the football, not just how we threw it, but guys making plays for their quarterback. That's a big deal, man. And because it's not going to always be easy. Sometimes he's going to have to, put a ball a certain place because of where coverage is. And that's been something I think we've done well this year, is relate to the football, and he throws a catchable ball most of the time. The velocity is not an issue for guys, and they can adjust their body and make plays for him.
Nickel's kind of been a spot you guys have been pretty banged up at. What was it like seeing Javon go out there and play as well as he did in this game?
Pretty banged up is an understatement. Very proud of Javon Bailey. He made some mistakes. One touchdown down in the red zone is a play that should have been a dead play for us. And again, young guy, they changed the formation with motion. He didn't see it, but he played hard. He was physical. He was productive. He tackled well. He had a lot of energy. He was not nervous at all, and excited for him. I'm proud of him. Like I said, the guys that had to step up, stepped up, and he was one of them.
all right. Coach, it looks like that's everything for today.
Okay, guys, thank you. Have a good day.